What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your Real Housewives of Dallas review, season 4, episode 11. And so this season wasn't really giving me a whole. I mean, this episode, well, the season 2, but this episode didn't really give a whole lot. It's basically all about Travis's birthday. We see Brandy and Leanne meet up. She gave Leanne her wedding gifts because remember she didn't go to the wedding. We see that last episode we found out that Travis is having his big 50th birthday party. The theme is midlife crisis, which was an interesting theme. I wasn't quite sure what like how to dress up for that, but they figured out some stuff. They had some real interesting costumes, but we'll get there. And Cameron isn't coming because she used the excuse that her kids had something to do. Now, what I haven't figured out with Cameron was that legitimately her kids had something to do, and it just happened to be a coinkadink that's what happened with Stephanie? Or was she being petty? And was like, well, you didn't come to Leanne's event and didn't RSVP, so I'm not coming to your event. Because she didn't really believe that Stephanie had a conflict. Remember, she never believed it was a conflict. So anyway, so Brandy, Stephanie, Travis, and what's her husband's name? Anyway, y'all know, was Brian. Yeah, Brian. They went out for his pre-birthday celebration. And y'all know Stephanie and Brandy are silly. Like, they are so silly. So she ended up taking them to medieval times, honey. Which, of course, is... If you've ever been to medieval times, it's definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like, it's definitely not something you really care to do again. It is not for adults. So it was totally like a prank thing. But it was cool. They had fun with it. Y'all know the four of them are silly when they get together. And they had fun with it. But... they did the whole thing. They made the announcement that it was his birthday, and she did the whole shebang, honey. And Stephanie was so tickled with herself. She just thought that it was the funniest thing ever, honey. Okay, but it was cool. It was cool. We see Carrie getting ready for a jewelry show. She's starting her jewelry line. She's trying to get some financial independence. When her and her first husband divorced, she said at 53, he just decided, I want to say she said 53, but she doesn't look that old to me. But either way, husband decided he didn't want to be married anymore and pretty much left her high and dry because she didn't have any of her own income. And, she doesn't want to end up in that situation again. So we saw her having a jewelry show and everything, like a trunk show. Then we see Cameron and her kids hanging out. They went to the archery, went to go do archery. And Cameron actually knows what she's doing with that bow and arrow, honey. And she got it in, and her daughter was impressed. Her daughter, remember, her daughter's a daddy's girl. And so she's more, she's closer to her dad. She doesn't disrespect Cameron like we've seen with other people. I ain't gonna call no names. But she definitely is a daddy's girl. But they had a little time out, you know what I mean? A little fun time hanging out with the kids and everything. And Cameron said, she was impressed with how I could do archery. And so that was cool. Then we see what happened next, Lord? This episode just wasn't giving me nothing, y'all. So we see, okay, so at the jewelry show, that's what it was. I knew it was something I missed. At the jewelry show that Cameron's having, Stephanie went to support her, and Stephanie was talking to Carrie, and she found out that Cameron's real reason for not coming to her party is she feels like Stephanie just hasn't done enough to earn her friendship, basically. Cameron is a lot. And her, what's the word I'm looking for? Her bar that she set for friendship, it's just ridiculous. And she's so offended by this comment that Stephanie made about their friendship that she didn't even hear the whole comment. Stephanie said, I feel like we have a surface friendship working on, and I want us to continue. But Cameron, all she heard was surface friendship. So everything is about this surface friendship. And, Stephanie's thing was, with Cameron, I just feel like I'm never good enough. No matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, it's never good enough for Cameron. And later on in the episode, we see Stephanie having a conversation with her mom. And we know that Stephanie has been dealing with anxiety and just that self-confidence and not feeling good enough. We know that she has attempted suicide in the past. So she's really working on getting her confidence and setting her boundaries and goals and everything. And what I love that Stephanie said, because she told her mom about what was going on with Cameron and how it made her feel. But what she also said was, I am not going to allow her to make me feel inadequate. I'm not going to give her that power. And for that, Stephanie, I applaud you. Now, I don't know if Stephanie watches my reviews, but she does retweet them and like them on Twitter. So for that, thank you. And if you are watching my reviews, baby, I'm going to say to you, I love the growth that I am seeing in you, and you keep working on you, and you are correct. You don't let somebody else dictate to you your worth. If what you're doing isn't good enough for Cameron, and she can't accept what you've offered her as far as friendship, then you know what? Go to work, film your scenes, and keep it moving. It is what it is. But I love what we're seeing in Stephanie, because I don't feel like we would have seen this Stephanie in season 1. And if you've been watching this franchise from the beginning, Stephanie has always been a sweetheart. I've always liked Stephanie. But yes, where we see Stephanie now is her. I can see that she's been working on herself, right? So that was cool. Now we get to the party, honey. Now it's this whole theme of midlife crisis. So of course they've done it up. You know, the house is gorgeous. They've got fireworks. They've got food. They've got a DJ. They've got, all kinds of stage and everything. It's beautiful. The party looks absolutely wonderful. Now, I think the idea was to sort of dress like someone who's going through a midlife crisis might dress. You know what I'm saying? Try to dress young or try to dress inappropriate or things of that nature. So we saw a little bit of everything. Stephanie looked like Peg Bundy, honey. She was wearing that little cat suit with that teased out wig. And Travis showed up as a college student with, he had on this $5,000 Gucci outfit, honey. Okay, I don't know too many college students that can afford that, but he probably could because he was rich. So he could probably afford, $5,000 Gucci outfit in college. Her cousins dressed up like midlife crisis Ken and Barbie, and it was cute. They had like little boxes and stuff that they were in. It was really cute. It was cute. Brandy came as a Playboy bunny, and she said, this is absolutely, within the theme of wanting all the attention, being inappropriate, Carrie had this outfit on with like a see-through shirt with pasties on her over her nipples and these fishnet stockings. And her husband was like, I think you might be doing a bit too much. And she ended up changing. She still had on a inappropriately cute outfit, but it wasn't over the top. It wasn't as much as what we saw here. He kind of let her know, yeah, that's not how you walking about this house, At the party, Brandy and Stephanie had a good conversation, and Stephanie sort of shared with Brandy how she was feeling about the whole situation with Cameron and everything. And then Brandy was talking to Stephanie about, we know last week with the whole situation with Bruin, with his biological mom being pregnant. And so they're waiting to get word on that whole situation, because what Brandy was saying, and I understand what Brandy was saying. Brandy was saying that if it's a different father, then that would make a difference in whether they would take on the child. If it's the same mother and father, then they would want Bruin to be with his biological brother or sister. But if the father is different, then that might change the dynamic. Even though it is still Bruin's sibling, it would be Bruin's half sibling, and so it might be a little different. But they'll find out next week, she said, while they're in Thailand, because they're going to Thailand, honey, and that's going to be a whole nother situation. That's the other thing that was kind of going on. They kept talking about Thailand and how much fun they were going to have and so forth and so on. Leanne shows up dressed like she was going to the mall. You know what I mean? It was nothing midlife. She didn't even try. Like, it would be different if she tried to dress up and it just was a fail. Like, it just didn't work. She didn't even try, honey. She put on some jeans and a t-shirt and some sneakers and said, let's do this. But okay. You know, I was invited to a party last weekend, and we were supposed to dress up as our favorite superhero or heroine, and I didn't. So I get it. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing a theme. You just don't feel like doing a theme. I wore a Venom t-shirt, and that was my costume. Okay. Anyway, Carrie finally shows up, and she said she was Snooki, and she even tried to do a Snooki impersonation. Y'all know how thick Carrie's accent was, honey. She ain't sound a bit more from the Jersey Shore than the Man in the Moon. But anyway, so everybody seems to be having a really good time. You know, everybody's partying. Everybody got their red cups, honey. They are getting it in. And then Deandra shows up. Deandra shows up dressed as Mama D. Now, let me tell you something. In the previews, when I saw the previews for this episode, I thought it was Mama D for a second. Deandra looks just like her mama. With that wig on and her makeup like her mom's makeup and like a suit like her mother wore. Honey, she looked like Mama D. Now, the difference was she had, I don't know what it was with the see-through shirts with the nipples covered up, but she had on one of those shirts, too, with see-through with the little pasties. Well, it wasn't pasties anyway, but the way it was made, but it covered her nipples. And Deandra proceeded to get drunk off her ass. And Leanne said, you know, I'm not enjoying watching Deandra get drunk time after time after time. Now, and Leanne said, for the outside person, it's just Deandra having some drinks and having fun. But for people who know Deandra, it starts with drinking at home and expanding into the public. Now, what I took that to mean, Deandra's father, and if I'm wrong, y'all correct me in the comments. If I remember correctly, Deandra's father was an alcoholic. And if I remember correctly, Deandra also told us that she suffered or battled some form of addiction early on in her life. And I want to say it might have been drugs, but don't quote me on that. But what I do know is that addiction runs in her family. And I think that's where Leanne was going, is that she's worried that this is not just Deandra having a good time letting her hair down, that this is a lot more serious, and that maybe we are seeing some signs of caution. I don't want to put anything out there, but caution. But Deandra got drunk once again, honey, and fell down. And Leanne stepped in, and you could tell that was her role as best friend, because Leanne stepped right in and was doing what she knew to do to take care of Deandra and to try to protect Deandra. And we saw the same thing when they were in Mexico. And so everybody in their confessional was basically saying that we know that Leanne, you know, still loves Deandra, and that the two of them just need to work it out. And that Leanne was there to protect Deandra. And we saw it. You know, Leanne is a lot of things, but Leanne definitely was trying to protect Deandra. And then we basically just saw them getting ready to go to Thailand. Ain't nobody know what the hell Thailand was. Ain't nobody know nothing about Thailand, honey. Cameron plays dumb. I haven't figured out yet whether Cameron really is dumb or Cameron plays dumb. But, you know, when Court said something to her and he used the word, he said, don't make any disparaging remarks against the king. And she hesitated like she didn't know what disparaging was. So then he went on and explained it to her. And I'm sitting here thinking, that woman know what the hell disparaging means. She ain't dumb. Cameron is not stupid. I think Cameron plays dumb with Court so that Court can feel smart. I believe it's all a ploy that she does. That woman's not dumb. But she plays dumb around Court. Now, mind you, if Stephanie had used that word at her, she would have known exactly what the word meant. Y'all understand what I'm saying with that? But we see them getting on a plane. Of course, they flying first class, honey, because I think she said it's a 20-hour flight or a 22-hour flight to Thailand, honey. Ain't nothing to do but to drink and sleep. The thing I like about international flights, at least the international flights I've been on, honey, the liquor free. Wine and not all liquor, certain, select things. And of course, Mama D had to make a little slick comment about Deandra going on a trip where she should be taking care of her business. And Deandra was like, "Hell, me leaving the country for a week ain't gonna change the fact that this business is bankrupt. Like, it's over. You know, it's on life support, and me staying here a week ain't gonna change that." But anyway, but that's pretty much what it was. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.